I'd like to start by welcoming you to Raith Rovers, John. You've been announced as, I believe, the first ever technical director at the club. Can you start by giving us a summary of what your role here at Raith Rovers entails?
Yeah, no, look, first of all, I'm delighted to be here. Really excited as well, and it's a big opportunity for myself and the club, I think, hopefully moving forward. The role is obviously it's a slightly different role than I've done in the past, but I think the jobs I've had, it involves a lot of the areas that I'll be involved in now. My job basically is to try and bring all the areas of the football department together in terms of recruitment, scouting, analysis, performance side, playing side, and bringing them all together and making them the best departments they can be for Raith Rovers Football Club. So bringing all these departments together, the people involved, the stats and the data and the footage and whatever it takes, basically making those departments really good, making them improve them as much as we can, and they are for Raith Rovers Football Club. So people come and go in time, and it's important that for the long-term stability of Raith that we get these departments all working together, all at their maximum, and get as much as we can out of them. And say that it takes good people and get good people into these roles, which I think they already are. Bringing them all together and hopefully helps us in the long-term future of Raith, in the main trying to get a good team on the pitch and help players, which will probably be the main role, bringing good players to the club. But as I say, there's a lot of departments to a football side of the club. And it's just bringing them together.
Exactly, yeah. And to clarify, something we talked about before we hit record, although your job titling contains the word director, technical director, you're not going to be part of the board, but you will be feeding back constantly into the directors on recruitment matters and all those other things you mentioned just there. Yeah,
so these are the guys that own the club, that run the club at the moment, or will be in future. So as I said, I'll be reporting back and on these areas of the club and what I think, how they're performing, what we need to be better, and that can be a number of things, how we can improve it, how I think we're going and planning into the future. As I said, in terms of recruitment, we've obviously going to have a busy window this window, but then looking forward quite quickly to January and the following season. So always trying to be a step ahead a little bit, not just scratching about. It's obviously difficult at the moment because we're just in. And we've got a lot of work to do in terms of recruitment in the squad, but it's about planning ahead a little bit and telling the board and the people that run the club our plans and how these departments are running.
Got you right, yeah. And then taken from what you say there, a key aspect of your role will be working closely with the management team of Ian Murray and Colin Cameron. As a professional and a manager with like decades of experience at Hibs, Sunderland, Kelty and elsewhere, it must be something you'll be looking forward to, knowing what those two guys, Ian and Colin, have done in their careers and the potential that's here at Starks Park.
Yeah, there's massive potential. That's why I came, really. I had a few different opportunities and a few different job offers that I could have went to, but when I heard about this one, I just thought that it's a real chance. It's a slightly different role for myself, but one that I'm involved in and I have been for a long time. But to actually do the role is exciting. And I said there's massive potential at this club. There's no reason why the club can't go on and get to the Premier League and be a sustainable club there. That's where we want to go, where we want to get to. And there's an opportunity to do it. I said I know Ian and Colin. I know them quite well. So I've purposely stayed out the way in terms of, like, Ian's had a job to do and Colin, I've had a job to do myself. So it's only really been the last few days that we've managed to sit down and get to the bits that we need to get sorted. So look, excited. Hopefully they'll be excited to work with me. Hopefully I can help them. That's my job, is to take some of the bits and pieces away from them, then they can concentrate on the coaching side and on the football side out on the pitch. Obviously I can help with them that as well for what I've done, but my job is to help them and help get a good team on the pitch, and said hopefully I can help them in a lot of different areas.
Yeah. In terms of identifying potential signing targets, can you outline the process regarding how you identify, source and then recruit players?
Yeah, look, it's a long one. There's loads of different areas we need to try and look into. First of all, you got your eyes, that you look at players, you know players that we know that we've been involved in kind of football for a long time. So you've also got targets that you get straight away. There's footage that will get sent, there's agents, there's now a lot of stats and data in terms of individual players in their positions. I think first and foremost we sit down with Ian and Colin and myself, and we sit down and say, right, how do we want to play? What type of players do we need? Profiles in these positions of players, of the type of team that we're going to have, and then each individual position, what we're actually looking for in terms of physicality, age, their hunger, their desire to improve, their leadership qualities, loads of different areas that we think we need to the club. We've also looked at, or we will be looking, and we are looking at what teams have been successful in this league, how they've been successful, in terms of getting a lot of that is on stats, where their goals have came from, the type of team, the profile of that team that have been successful in this league. So those are areas we're looking into. We then look at into, there's a lot of background checks on players, ones that we look at, and where we are, there's a lot of teams going for the same types of players. So we've got to try and think outside the box a little bit as well, and look for players that are hungry, that want to improve, that want to come to Raith Rovers for the right reasons. They want to come here to help us be successful, but at the same time make themselves successful as well, and potentially move on and sell. If we can flip players and they come in, do really, really well, and they go out again because they've done well for us, we're happy with that. But I said hopefully we can keep them here and we can be successful as part of a club. So there's loads of different areas that we look into. I said the background one's really, really important. We want people with the right mentality that want to be here and want to improve. So we look at the profiles of each positions, how Ian wants to play, and then through Y-Scout, through footage, through meeting agents, meeting players, going to watch players ourselves, our own knowledge. There's loads of different areas that we look into, and hopefully we can do that. And as I said, the more eyes we've got that we trust, the better, and hopefully we can bring that as well. We've got our own ideas, or I've got my own ideas. Sorry, Ian and Colin sort of game with them last night, and it's just about us meeting, speaking about players, speaking about what we've got in the building. They can speak a little bit about the season just gone and where they felt they were a little bit short, where they can improve, what the best teams in the league had, and if we can bring all that together, it's difficult, but hopefully make good signings for the club that can take the club forward.
Yeah, and you mentioned there the technological side, Y-Scout and so on, all that video analysis stuff. At the end of the day though, you got an extensive playing and coaching career stretching all the way back to the late 1990s. Your little black book, if you like, of contacts, you'll be relying heavily on the people in there that you worked with in Scotland and down south as well. Yeah,
of course. Like we've got a lot of contacts between us all, and it's important. Loan players are important. You obviously want your own players as well, but you've got a good opportunity here, where we are, the situation, the club, full time, that you can bring loan players in as well. But look, we've got a lot of contacts between all of us here that you can bring quality players at the club. And I said it's important now that you just don't take somebody's word for it. Like there's people that we trust, that you trust their opinion, and sometimes you gamble on players and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but it's important we do as much work as we can in the background of these players, and as I said, bring them here for the right reasons. They've got to be passionate, they've got to buy into what we're going to do, they've got to buy into the culture we're going to create at the club, and they've got to be enthusiastic for the work every day. Those types are really, really important to me. I know they're really important to Ian as well, and if we can get them more of these people into the club, and players into the club, staff into the club, then the club will be a better place.
Got you right, yeah. We talked about it before we hit record on the camera there, but we've left one of the most obvious questions until later in the interview. Your family connection to Raith Rovers. Your older brother Brian, he only ever played in 2 matches for us, but he is, fair to say, a bit of a legend here. Penalty shootout heroics in Perth. Firstly, in relation to Brian, what's your memories of that night, the semi-final, when he at 17 came off the bench?
Yeah, didn't really think nothing of it at the time. I remember it well. He was on the bench all the time, but never used or never got on. He was 17, looked about 14. He was about 5'6" for a goalkeeper.
Still is.
Yeah, he still is. Yeah, and I was in the house with my brother, listening on the radio, and my mum and dad were at the game. And I just remember I remember Scott Thompson getting sent off for his dad, and him coming on. And then I remember Airdrie scoring quite quickly, and then turning the radio off. And then we put it back on again, when it went to penalty shootouts, because Brian was always good at penalty shootouts in younger days and boys club football and stuff. He always backed himself to save a penalty, and the way it worked out was amazing. I never seen him for 3 days after that. He still lived us in the house in High Valleyfield, so genuinely didn't see him for a couple of days. I'm actually sure he was on the bench for a reserve game the next night or something like that.
Yeah.
So no, it was great. It was brilliant for him, and I remember the night well. My mum and dad were at the game, and for him to do that, when I actually got the job here, I didn't actually tell him for a long time. He said my first job was to make sure there's a little statue of Brian somewhere in the stadium, so that's my first job.
yeah, just a wee statue.
Yeah, just a wee one, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously Brian was in the squad for the final, and we know that it was then Scott Thompson's chance to be the hero. But you were on the ground staff. Was it an S form? At Celtic at the time.
Yep.
So you were sat in the Celtic section, watching your wee brother's team.
Big brother.
So, yeah, again, I
told you
I told you I would do that at one point. Yeah, watching your big brother's team win the cup.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were sat in an empty stand watching the trophy go up. What was that like, knowing that your brother played such a major part in that? Yeah,
it was massive for me. I was a young player at Celtic, and we all went to the game. And my mum and dad were in the Raith Rovers end, obviously, and we just made a decision. Just wait till the trophy's gone. Them thinking Celtic would probably win. And then we'll meet back outside, and obviously Raith Rovers won, which was amazing, especially for the way it happened as well. Brian was really close with Scott Thompson. They were great, but still are. They were good pals, worked together. So for it to work out that way was amazing. And I said I was sat in the stand myself, waiting on watching Raith Rovers, and my brother being to help pick up the trophy. So, and then I met them again at night. So no, it was great for him. It was a brilliant occasion for him, a brilliant occasion for Raith Rovers. Still spoken about today. I know a lot of the players well. I know Stevie and obviously Colin and Jason Dare and stuff. I know them all quite well. So they had a great group. Hopefully we can get something along those lines again. It's important that you speak to them, and they had a great team spirit, great kind of camaraderie amongst them. So if we can try and do something like that, then we'll not go far wrong. Yeah.
Picking up on your comparison there to that time in '94 and the present day, and some of you mentioned already, the Rovers are one of many clubs who could lay claim to be something of a sleeping giant.
Yeah.
Tell us again about the potential that exists in the club and the town to push Raith Rovers onto the next level in Scottish football.
There's massive potential. I said I've been around a few different clubs, I've seen different things, and obviously I know the club really well. Live in Fife all my time, so there's massive potential to go and do well. And I think what we've got to do as a club is really push to be successful. I said sometimes I think, not this club, other clubs, you think we're doing okay, we're doing fine. I think you've got to push hard, you've got to know what it takes to get to these levels, and there's absolutely no reason why Raith Rovers can't do it. That's why I'm here. That's why I know that the guys invested in the club, that we want to push on. I said Kirkcaldy's getting bigger all the time. There's more houses, we want to bring more fans at the game. I was actually sat behind the goal on Friday night. Everywhere I turned there was groups of young kids with Raith Rovers strips on, watching the games, making a racket, making a noise. It was great. It was great to see. The atmosphere was brilliant. We want to try and get amongst the community. We want to try and bring fans back, or bring fans to the club. We want to grow that. We want to grow the community side. We want to grow young base players from this area trying to get into the club. That'll be something on my remit as well. That obviously there's not an academy of such at the moment, but something that we're going to look into. We're going to try and fix it. There's an opportunity for young players in this area, and I said Raith Rovers I've done well over the years from that look. We need to look into it, and we need to find a way that what's the best way of getting these young players, young fans, giving them an opportunity to play for Raith Rovers. So there's loads of areas we can improve, loads of areas that we can try and push to make this club successful. And I said that's part of my job to try and do that. Yeah.
Well, from the sounds of things, there's loads of exciting stuff already underway here and in the future. I'm sure we're going to talk again to you about the developments here, but for now, John, thanks and good luck in your role here at Starks Park.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.